Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about particles, and this is the video that's going to put it all together for you. You're going to understand particles by the end of this, and you're going to love them. Let's jump in. So I have a new project here. All I have are my main callbacks: init, update, and draw. And to start out with, there is no built-in particle system inside of Pico-8. So there isn't like a spawn particles function that's built in or anything like that. We have to do this from scratch. The cool thing is we have tons of control, and it's not that hard. By the way, if you're just getting started with game development, or maybe just getting started with Pico-8, I have a course called Pico-8 Noob to Pro. We go over my step-by-step process to go from game dev noob to being able to create any kind of game in Pico-8. This thing is just packed full of aha moments, and I know it'll help you make your game ideas a reality. It's called Pico-8 Noob to Pro. There's a link in the description, or go to spacecatdev.com. Pretty much here's how it works. The first thing that we have to do is make a table. If you're not familiar with tables in Pico, I definitely recommend checking out my video on tables, because tables are essential to particles and a lot of stuff in Pico. So let's just call this table particles. Let's just say parts for short. And I make a new table by just making a variable equals 2 curly brackets like that. That's a blank table with nothing in it. These are also called arrays. What it really is just kind of a list of numbers or variables or strings or whatever. It's a list. And inside of that list, we can even have variables like, x equals 4, comma, y equals 5, and so on. And inside of a table, we can also have a table. So a table in a table. What? What's up? So to do that, we could have a table like this inside of the table. And we could have a table inside of that. Man, it'd be crazy. It'd just like be Inception. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to start with a blank table like this. That's just a list that we can add things to soon. So how do we add something to this table? Well, we use a command called add, and it has the 2 parentheses here. And then we tell it what table we want to add things to. So parts, just like that. And then comma, whatever we want to add. So we could add 5, and that's going to basically do this. Okay. But instead of adding that 5, we're going to add another table like this. And within that table, we're going to have a bunch of variables. Now, you can think of it like this. This parts table, this is like the group of all of the particles together. This is the container that holds every particle in our system. What we're going to add here are the properties of the individual particle. Okay. So all I did was just split this out and hit return a couple times. And so we'll say x equals 63, comma, y equals 63. And then let's do something like speed equals. So now what we have is when we start our game, we're going to make a blank table called parts, and we're going to add one table, one particle to our particle system. And it's going to have 3 properties, an x, y, and a speed. So now what? Who cares? Well, we have all this information, but we're not really doing anything with it yet. We're just kind of setting up a list of particles, and we only have 1 particle in our list so far. So let's actually draw this so we can see it and not just be thinking about this in imaginary land. We'll start with clear screen, then we'll draw our particle. Now, the way that we do that is we're going to go through our whole list of particles and draw each particle. We're going to do that with a for loop. So a for loop repeats the same thing over and over again for a certain amount of times. So you could do for I equals 1, comma 5. What that's going to do is everything that we write after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay. And every time it loops through it, it's going to set that variable as whatever number it's on. Okay. So we do this for I equals 1, comma 5, do, and then whatever we want to do 5 times, we'll put here. Okay. So we could say like print I, save, run, and now it writes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But instead of doing I equals 1 to 5, we're going to say for I in all parts. What this is doing is instead of going from 1 to 5, it's just counting how many entries are in our particles table, and it's doing this 1 for each entry. Okay. So for I in all parts, do print I. So this should just give us 1. And so let's save and run this, and it says table. So it doesn't know what to print for the table, but it's gone into this table of our particles, and it says, okay, well, I is a table, because it's going to set this to whatever the value of each thing in our list is. So if it's 5, 4, 3, like this, we hit save, it's going to say 5, 4, 3 table. So for every item in our particles, we're going to do something. Why don't we draw a circle? We'll just say circ fill, and the circle fill needs an X, Y, a radius, and a color. So to get this X and Y from our particle, we can look up this property just by saying I.x. In fact, let's change this to P because it doesn't matter what you write here. We'll just say P for particle, okay? We can set that letter to whatever we want. And we'll just say P.R and P.C for P.color, okay? So this is radius and color. And so we actually need to have those here. So let's just say R equals 3 and color equals what color? One of these colors. How about yellow? Yeah, how about green? Color 11. So color equals 11. So what this should do is put a green circle in the middle of our screen. There we go. So what it's doing is it's looking up this table of particles, which we've only added one particle to. Its x is 63, its y is 63, its radius is 3, its color is 11, and its speed is 1, although we haven't used speed yet. And then we're looping through everything in that particle system. We're looking that stuff up and we're drawing a circle with it, okay? And this is essentially the entire system here, is we have our container that holds all of our particles. We have a command to add a particle, and then we're drawing each particle in that list of particles with each particle's properties. So this is where it starts to get fun because we could say like 63, let's just say 60 plus random 6. So that's going to be between 60 and 66, right? So it's going to go random 6 like that. So when we make this particle, it's going to show up in a random range between 60 and 66 on the X and Y axis. So it's going to be somewhere around here. Save and run. And as we run this several times, it kind of moves around. So it randomizes where that circle ends up. Okay, things are about to get crazy. But we only have one particle, which is hardly, you know, a dynamic particle system. And so when we hit init here, instead of just adding one particle like this, let's do this several times, which we already know how to do with a for loop. For I equals 1, 10. Let's make 10 particles. Do end. So we're just going to do this whole thing 10 times, basically. We're going to run through it, add a particle with a random X and Y, and we're going to go bloop, 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 bloop 10 times. Now, if we save and run, we have all of these little circles over each other. Let's make this a little bit smaller, just so we can see this a little better. Save, run. So now we have these little crosses that are just showing up at random places. Let's spread these out a little more. So let's say random 20, and let's make this like 40, save, run. And as I run this, those appear in a random place, right? So we're already getting random particles kind of scattered throughout, okay? Of course, they're not doing anything. That's because we don't have anything happening in our update function. So again, same kind of idea is we can just copy this for loop like this. For P in all particles, do something. So we can, again, access any of these properties just by saying P dot whatever property we want, because P will look up whatever item is in the list and it will look up its property, right? So let's say X plus equals P dot speed. So our speed is 1. And every frame, we're going to go through all of our particles, find out where they are, and add 1 to their X value. Save, run, and now they fly that way, okay? We can make this a lot more dynamic by giving them a random speed, RND, and let's just say from 0 to 2. Save, run, and now look at that. Now it's starting to get particle-y. That's a word, particle-y, okay? And so this is the point, again, where things get pretty cool because you can really have them do anything and you're in charge of every single little thing they do, okay? So if you want them to start with a certain property, you put it here in the init. If you want them to animate a certain way, that goes under update. And then how they're drawn is determined under draw. Just like basically everything in Pico, the only difference is we're working with a table and we have to add things to the table or look up the different entries in the table. That's it. Other than that, it's just like you would animate any single thing, like a sprite or something like that. So let's have some fun. This radius, let's, instead of making the radius 1, let's say it's random from 0 to 3. And let's actually have these go up. So we'll say P.y minus speed, save, run. And now look at that. It's like bubblies. Oh, baby. Okay, let's make more. Let's make 20 and let's start them down lower. So like 80, save, run. And now look how cool that is. Dude, I love particles. It just looks amazing. Okay, I feel like some of these are going too slow. So this speed instead of random 2, let's say like 2 plus random 2, save, run. And now they all at least go 2. Maybe we'll say 1, random 2, save, run. Yeah, something like that. So now it's bloop. So we have these particles being added on init, but we could actually do this anytime we want. We could, I'll just hit Control X, get rid of this. We could do this on update. We could just move this thing down here and look what happens. Save, run. And now it just generates a ton of particles. And pretty soon it'll crash Pico, which is kind of neat. In fact, let's make it so it doesn't crash Pico by adding something like life. So L for life. And let's say maybe that's like 60 frames, right? Now, this doesn't mean anything yet. We're just adding a random variable called L and assigning it 60. But we can go through here. Let's say P.L minus equals 1. So that's going to take 1 away from L every time. And let's say if P.L is less than 0, then we can delete that particle. So del parts, and which particle? Okay. Now, this is a controversial thing to put here. People that know about looping through things and everything are going to go, what are you doing, man? What's that about? Well, if we were doing this with numbers, like going 1 through 5 and then deleting the fourth one, then the fifth entry becomes the fourth one and things get messed up. But because this is actually going in and referencing the specific entry in the list in our particles list, this actually works. So don't be hating me in the comments. It's okay. So if the life is less than 0, then we delete the particle. Okay, so save, run, and now this should go forever. In fact, let's make this life a little bit shorter. Let's do like 20, save, run, and we can see these are stopping, right? We could make the life even shorter, like 5, and now it just stops there. So even though we're adding particles every frame, we're also getting rid of particles every frame, and this will kind of keep going for a while. So from there, we can randomize and update and adjust things as much as we want. We can change the color over time, right? So let's say we want to make this fire, right? We can start at yellow, which is color 10, and then we can make it color 9. And we can do that with life. So let's make life like 10. Okay. Let's also make this spread a little less. So yeah, we have something like that. That's cool. And let's change this color. Let's do it before we do our life stuff. So if P.L is less than 5, then P.C equals 9. And so it starts green and then it ends up orange. Let's start this. Let's do this color at 10, save, run. So now we're getting something that looks kind of like fire, right? Oh, baby. Cool. One thing is let's have the particles get smaller as they get older too. So just as time goes on, let's say P.R minus equals, I don't know, 0.1, something like that. Save and run. There we go. Now they're getting smaller each time. That's pretty cool. Now, you want to see something really cool? We can even make a force like gravity or wind or something like that just by doing some trickiness here. So let's just say force, let's see, equals, I don't know, 2 or something. Force equals 2. We can use this to add to our X position or something every frame. So let's just say like P.X plus equals force. Save, run, and now it goes to the right, right? And then we could do something like change our force every frame. So, you know, force, let's say if force is greater than 3, then force equals force times -1. And then we'll say force plus equals 0.1 each frame, right? So let's just say we'll start it at -3 and then watch this. So it goes one way and then it kind of goes the other way. And so it kind of loops that way, which is kind of cool. We could do this a little bit more smoothly by saying, you know, force direction, force D, let's say that's 1. And if force is greater than 3, we'll just switch that force D to be a -1. And we'll just say, or force is less than -3. So basically, once force gets to 3 or -3, it's going to turn around, okay? It's going to turn this force direction around, and then force plus equals 0.1 times force direction, save, run. And now this is going to kind of wobble back and forth like this. Isn't that cool? Oh, it's so neat. Particles are awesome, man. Okay. Then we could do this, you know, times random 1 and add a little bit of kind of randomness to it. And the more randomness you add to your particles, the more organic they're going to feel, right? Pretty cool. Let's maybe make this, wobble a little less. Oops. So now that's going to kind of just wobble this way a little bit. Let's maybe even make this like less wobbly. So there we go. We have kind of this little dynamic little whoosh thing going on. And yeah, the more that we add to this, the more craziness we can get. That's pretty neat. And let's make this a little nicer by maybe not spreading them out so much on the Y-axis. Like maybe let's do like random 3. Let's do maybe like random, let's keep the Y at like 10. This would be like 53, something like that. 57-ish. So now we're getting kind of a torch looking thing. We can make the life a little longer. There we go. Let's turn these orange a little bit quicker. And so if life is less than 8, so now it turns orange. We can have it white in the middle. We can have this change different colors. So like if, else, if P.L is less than 8, then p.c equals 9. And we could make this one, if it's less than like 11, we'll make this white. So like color 7. So now, whoa, oops. So let's make this 10, and then we'll start it with color 7. So we'll start with white, and then if it's less than 11 life left, we'll turn it yellow. And if it's less than 8 life left, we'll turn it orange. So save, run. That's not gonna work. Save, run. So now we have a little bit more dynamic looking fire here. That's pretty cool. So here's a project that I worked on offline, and it works pretty much the same way. We have particles, we have our force, we have our force direction. And I've just went through and kind of tweaked these a lot. And I'm just drawing circles, kind of the same exact thing. The only difference is I took the time and drew a little fire log sprite here. And now we have our little campfire, and that looks amazing. Look at that little fire. That's so cool. So you can add this to, your little survival game, camping game, whatever. But that's exactly how I made that. Same thing. So there's a cool little guide on particles. Again, it's all about just setting up your blank table and adding particles with certain properties. And you can do that each frame. You can do that at the beginning. You can do it just once when you hit a button for like a little explosion or something. But you do that with the for loop, and it adds that amount of particles. And then each frame, you update those properties, just like you would animate a sprite or a character or something like that. And then you draw the particles with the for loop. Same thing, you just loop through and draw each of those particles. And you can do this with a circle fill, you could do this with a sprite, you could do this with, anything that you can draw, basically. Lots of cool particle effects. And you can make all kinds of little particle effects, even though there's no particle generator inside of Pico. Pretty cool. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. Hey, make sure to check out my study guide for Pico. It's in the description. It's a free download. It'll give you some of the essentials if you're trying to learn Pico.